Shaun of the Dead is 20 years old this year. Released the 9th of April in 2004 in the United Kingdom and September 24th, 2004 in the United States. You can catch Shaun of the Dead back in select theaters right now, just as I did tonight. And we're going to talk about the legacy, we're going to talk about everything I like about this movie, everything I don't like, a little bit about the Blu-ray and the special features, so stick around. Welcome back to the Ecto-Violence channel. My name is Alec. Today, we're talking Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is easily one of my favorite movies of all time. Review over. I originally saw the trailer for this movie attached to a screening of Open Water. Do you remember that movie from 2004? Which I think had an original release in 2003, but it had a theatrical run in 2004. And I remember being like, holy crap, I've got to see that. The thing is, I didn't get to see it in theaters. I did, however, go and get to see it in theaters this time around, 20 years later. But my parents had one of those cable boxes, the expensive ones with the built-in guide menus back in 2004. So I would imagine sometime in 2005 is when I saw this for the first time, when it was on HBO or Cinemax or Showtime or something, and we had a trial, or some reason my parents were paying for it for a few months, whatever reason. Now, there's actually a lot of interesting special features on this Blu-ray. The uncensored commentary with the cast and crew, those are always a fun time. You definitely got to check this one out if you're a big fan. There's deleted scenes, and one of my favorite special features is one where they're kind of showing their whiteboard that they planned out this movie on. An interesting thing about this release is it didn't come out till 2009 on Blu-ray. It did, however, have an HD DVD release in 2007 and a UMD release. So let's go ahead and get started with the positives for Shaun of the Dead. So the cast and characters, obviously Simon Pegg and Nick Frost as these two characters it's iconic. It's unforgettable. I know a lot of people don't like this movie, and they often say that it's because they are not fans of British humor or whatever, but to be honest, this exceeds that. This isn't just weird British humor or anything, this is not that. Everybody say hello to Yoshi, he's here again today. Kate Ashfield is awesome as Liz, and surely there's there's a bunch of awesome cameos and stuff, but really it's all Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in this movie, and they are hilarious, which brings me to my next point, the comedy in this movie. It's top notch. Everything. It's when I watched this for the first time, I remember being so amused by the way they were using the sound and the horror tropes of, just like the camera work being crazy and showing Shaun just doing mundane things, I thought it was brilliant, and I was 13. And it's actually really hard to pick out some favorite comedy bits from this movie because it's just, I'm laughing and giggling the whole time. Another positive is all these crazy references to other zombie movies. I think perhaps the most easily recognizable one's the We're coming to get you, Barbara line. That's a reference to Night of the Living Dead. Oh, there's music cues from Dawn of the Dead. Let's talk about some of the direction of the camera work and combination with the sound editing and music here. So Edgar Wright has a very particular style that I fell in love with this movie. And it continued on with Hot Fuzz, World's End, Baby Driver, and I wouldn't say it's limited to that, but you can definitely tell all the different things, it's a very distinctive style, just like Sam Raimi is. I think that's who I would compare him to the most. And while we're talking about some of the music, I definitely actually have added some of these songs to playlists, like the Man Parish song, The Blue Wraith by iMonster, and I just love the references in the record collection to New Order and Prince. I have both New Order and Prince tattoos. Huge fan. I'm just going to talk about some of my favorite scenes and shots here real quick, like the scene that's repeated, for example, of Shaun leaving his house, walking to the corner store, and walking back. Beautifully done. Comedic in its own right before it's repeated. The scene when he's at his store and he's talking to these teenagers. Honestly, I think the first 45 minutes is the best 45 minutes of the movie, and that's not saying that the other half is bad, but it's just laugh after laugh. From the Grandmaster Flash song reference, Ed's obsession with driving the Jag, Ghostbusters is my favorite movie of all time. Horror comedy is probably my favorite genre of all time. When you're mixing those two, if done well enough, it's gonna creep into my heart, and Shaun of the Dead has definitely done that. Now, this is normally where I would talk about the negatives of Shaun of the Dead. I don't have any negatives for Shaun of the Dead. What I will talk about is the film analysis of Shaun of the Dead of the last 20 years. You'll find the phrase post 9/11 in a lot of these. One of them mentions something very interesting, which I agree with about this movie, is that some of the things that happen are funny on several levels. The example that he uses is one that I kind of like too, so I'm going to use it as well. You can credit this example to writer Dirk Eidson. But when Shaun slips and almost falls in the opening sequence, it's funny on several levels. Funny in a slapstick way because falling is funny. Not noticing the zombie apocalypse is funny. Contrasting Shaun's mindless behavior with the mindless behavior of the zombies. There's a lot you can say about Shaun of the Dead, and I really just love this movie. It's hard to talk about movies that I love this much because I just love everything about it. And before I rate this movie, why don't you go ahead and jump in the comments down below and let me know what you think of Shaun of the Dead. Am I blowing smoke up this movie's ass? Because I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5 hearts as Yoshi walks by. Perfect fucking movie. As time goes on, this movie just moves higher up on the list. It's probably my top 5, at least top 10 for sure, movies of all time. And I'm trying to save some of those movies to review later on in this channel because I don't want to blow my load so quick, but it's the 20th anniversary, it's back in theaters, I got to go see it in theaters, I highly recommend that. The sound was incredible. There were things I noticed that I had never noticed before in this movie, seeing it in a theater. Most of those things were sound related in the mix because I've seen this 400 times, but if you have the means, go check it out in a theater. I highly recommend it. And if you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.